And now, Portland's own Concrete5.org.
Oh, yeah? Cool. Good morning. Totally random. 10 a.m. Pacific time. Every Friday. I'm the Friday with the CMS Patrol Squad.
Okie dokie.
The number you have dialed has crashed into a planet.
Hello!
Hey!
Yay! Welcome to Totally Random Halloween! Boo! Spooky. Yes. So, very exciting show. We are actually going to release 5.5 as alpha today. Right after the show, right?
We are.
Yeah. So, exciting stuff. So we've actually pulled Andy out right from the get-go. You can see there's a slightly different background. You're on the other side of the Concrete 5 campus. And we've got a different computer hooked up so we can give you a live demo of what Concrete 5.5 looks, feels, and smells is like to edit with. But before we do that, let's get through some quick news and get that out of the way. Let's see. This week we saw Web Designer Magazine in the UK did an article that Andy actually wrote on how to make a really sexy little e-commerce site that had different types of products in it. Kind of a really hands-on how-to, like 20-some steps and whatnot.
Yeah, how to add e-commerce to your concrete site with a special bent for making it approachable for people who want their site to look nice as well as to function.
Yeah, we know that magazine is very much geared towards kind of the WordPress web designer market, so we thought it'd be cool to show just the amount of flexibility that you had with our e-commerce solution in particular. So that went out, that's pretty cool, and we're excited about that. Also, we added another hosting provider to the hosting page. We just had Bluehost and DreamHost up there for a little bit recently because they're kind of the big players in that world. But we just added Arvix, and we will see how they do. You should give them a try. Very cheap, like $4 a month. But when we ran our tests, it was very fast, and they have been super patient with us and very eager to work with us. So we hope that if people have issues and we point their support guys to them, they'll do a good job of answering in a timely fashion. And that is the basic promise of that budget hosting on our hosting page, is that we know people over there, and while you're not going to get the built-in support that you get if you host with us, certainly if you can't install the thing, we can forward a tech to look at it, and someone who kind of knows what they're doing is going to be able to at least look at it a little bit, or that's the hope. Let's see, I guess in other news, we have we're going to mix a how-to and a how would we do that together into one clump. Some stuff that Matt's been working on. Matt, do you have do you have an example to show, or should I just draw a pretty picture in people's minds?
Yeah, I've got an example of a login and registration page combined. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. This is something that we often hear people, I don't know, any highly designed web project that's got some kind of login community features to you're going to want to do. Our login registration page looks nice, but login is one page, register is another page, and you kind of have to go out of your way to skin them to match your site. So I was just in a meeting earlier this week, some folks that wanted to kind of redesign that experience so it matched the rest of the site, and also both register and login were on the same page. So there's different ways to kind of tackle that problem, and Matt's writing a how-to on them. Maybe we could look at what the actual problem is really quickly.
Yeah, let me switch over here to our screencast.
Switch it up. So something like that. Log into Dropbox, and this one's a tabbed interface, but it's still the same page. You got a tab that says create account. So that would be operating on the same page somehow. And of course matching the general Dropbox look and feel, which is pretty minimalist, but still. So what would we recommend? Well, as I remember it, and correct me if I'm wrong, we'd recommend actually making a new single page to deal with this.
Yeah, that's I think that's the right way to approach it. Certainly you could take one of the existing ones and fold the functionality from the other in, and we've done that in the past. We've added registration fields to the login page, for example. But if you want to do something that's pretty highly designed, and you want to do something that functions in a different way than what's built in, it's going to make your life easier if you just keep the single pages around, log in and register, keep them around, but then build in a new single page and copy the functionality for the forms for both those pages into your new page and set it up in a tabbed interface or something like that. And then make sure those forms submit to the existing pages, and that way you get the new interface on the front end, which is what you really want, but at the same time you don't have to worry about copying all the code that makes the login and register pages today, because there's a lot in there that for stuff like email validation, registration, and required questions and stuff like that. You want to keep those pages around functioning how we built them. You can move them into your themes so that they look nice, but if you want to combine the page, just copy out the forms into a new page.
Okay. So the simplest way to do it, just to skin the thing, the existing pages.
Yeah, you can do that by modifying. There's a file called site theme paths, which is in your config. It's in your config directory where site.php lives, so the database connection information. There's some sample code in there. You can also find them in the docs. It's basically just a syntax that lets you say for the /login page and the /register page, instead of using the default theme, use whatever you name your site, and that should be pretty easy to understand.
Okay, so that's easy. Option one is you leave the pages exactly just functioning the way they are. You just skin them to look closer to your general site.
Yep.
And that's probably good for.
Yeah, totally. That's good for us.
Good for us.
Good for us.
Now, if you really got to have one page with all your forms on it, you're probably best off not trying to back end one page into the other one, but just make a new single page from this awesome unified login page.
Yeah.
And pull what you want out. I mean, the downside to that is if you add custom attributes to the user registration stuff, they're probably not going to automatically show up.
No, if you pull it out the exact same, I mean, you can certainly hard code them in there, and then if you add more, you're going to have to make those changes. But which we have done in our setup because we wanted it very custom. But you can use the same functions in the new page that we use in the register page.
Okay.
That'll
That'd be nice. So you can still get the whole. If I'd like to know your household income on registration, it'll just magically show up in the list. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But still, even on that unified page, we would suggest that you point the registration over to the old registration single page and log into the old. And so if there is an error on validation or whatever, step 2, you're on a new page.
You don't have to copy over all the validation code and all the.
And
there's a lot of stuff going on.
Come on. Like that should be more than enough.
You've made the choice to log in already.
Someone trying to register and they can't register, then you're in a registration flow, and that's okay. If you really needed it to be, I don't know, maybe you're doing everything in an overlay or something.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you could rebuild that all into one.
Yeah, you could. You could, and I mean, if you were at that point, you'd probably be taking both bits and pieces and rewriting functionality. So like. A lot of the login page and the controller for it are for supporting OpenID, for example.
Right.
And if you were doing a highly stylized overlay, you'd probably not be supporting OpenID. So you would be, at that point, you'd be making a custom solution, which you could definitely do
down your own road.
Yeah.
Cool. So that is how do we do that, and that is also a how-to that Matt is putting some finishing touches on today, and will be up in our documentation. Comes up in the threads all the time, so that'll be a good one to have.
Yeah.
Very sweet. Let's see. We've got Karma to think about, and we got the PRB. Is the Karma machine run? I've got a computer here. I could actually. This is a whole new exciting type deal here. We've got
multiple computing.
Multiple computers.
You can watch yourself be in your own screen.
Boy, it's not a particularly fast internet connection when you have everyone watching Ustream.
You like Ustream so much, we put Ustream in Ustream.
Yeah, looks like that ran. The Karma machine has run.
The Karma machine.
It looks like this week, for helping people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Jay has won a discussion forums add-on. Thank you for helping people. For promoting Concrete 5, probably through his referral link, Canon F700 has won a copy of the contact directory. And for doing work, Steph Eider has won a document library. Steph does amazing themes, and I'm sure we will now see custom templates for the document library in the next theme that she submits. So thank you very much for all of the help. We very much appreciate it. I will give out a couple of badges this week. I saw one, WAGD helped answer just like the most basic questions. Someone was like, can I upload video to my Concrete 5 site? And I just didn't have the heart to respond. And I looked back later in the day, and WAGD had it. It's awesome.
Nice.
Yes, you can upload video. It's a content management system.
I know that he did not win, but I know there are a number of how-tos that were approved this week from John the Fish.
Nice.
So nice work. Nice work on those.
Well, should we get into the PRB?
Sure.
Yeah, I think we're not skipping over anything, right?
No.
No? You don't have a list in front of you, though.
I don't. I don't know where it
That would be
went.
some horrible mistake.
But I can see from here. I
Okay.
can see from here.
Oh, here you go. Oh, by the bagels.
Nice. Perfect. All right. So the first PRB, we've got about 10 items to go through today. We'll start with the add-ons. And the first one here is the iMagick List Reorder. And what this guy lets you do is add some items through a block interface. And when you add that to your site, the visitors to your site can reorder this list in the page. And I believe if you're logged in, it saves that order. I don't know if it saves it against your user record or just in general, but it seemed to stay persistent for me when I was logged in. And it's a cool little widget there. Moving along, we have a RSS list importer, and this is by 12345J, who's been doing a lot of work on blog style stuff and RSS stuff lately. What this lets you do is you point an RSS feed at you specify an RSS feed in a dashboard page, and you specify a node for that will get articles added under it, and it will just parse that feed and add articles too.
Oh, wow.
It'll add them as blog entry page types. I don't know that the page type is customizable, but I think it added blog entry page types for me, and it respected page defaults and everything like that. And I believe it works with more blog add-ons than just built-in blog stuff. So like
Hello, spam farm.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, I think version 2 just add like 10 RSS feeds, and you got yourself a content farm right there. Yeah. So that's cool. Yeah.
Right on.
And that's just built with the built-in SimplePy RSS parsing library that's in Concrete 5. So nice work.
Nice work.
Moving along, this is an add-on by Minkrist. This is called Auto Logout. This is for sites that need to periodically log users out. So like mint.com or your bank website or something like that. After a period of inactivity that you can specify, you can have users be logged out. And it will give you an alert message when that has happened, so that you're not just in the dark as to why you no longer have, you can no longer post to a forum or something like that. So that's what Auto Logout does. And moving along, we have Tickers Messages as our next add-on. This is a way to display a random message on a particular site. So you can, I don't recall if it types it out like a typewriter does, which is what I think of with a ticker. I don't think it does that, but it does cycle through the messages, and you can add them in a dashboard interface, and then add the block anywhere you like, and it will display the message. That's cool. It's sort of good for like a quote of the day or a random cycling quote type of widget. That's pretty cool. Next add-on is called Table Page List, and what this does is it lists pages in a table, and within the table on the site you can resort all of the the pages, so that's kind of useful. And it lets you specify by typing in the attribute handles, it lets you specify what type of attributes you'd like to display. So it's kind of like a lightweight. It's kind of like a version of the document library for pages, but a little bit more lightweight. But definitely kind of useful. It gives you a number of different themes that you can use. I think it uses a built-in, this is a jQuery, I think, table sorter plugin, if I know my plugins. It does, yeah, so that's pretty cool. And a nice little add-on there for stuff like that. And I think you can search and stuff within that list as well. And for our final add-on, we have the PayPal events system. This is an e-commerce style add-on. It doesn't work with e-commerce, but it lets you sign up for events with PayPal. So you add events through a back-end dashboard interface, which is what Matt's showing right now. And there we go. And when you add those, you can specify how long they run, when they start, when they stop, and how much they cost. And then there's an events single page that's been added to your Concrete 5 site, which will show all the events that are currently available to register for, and then you can register for them and purchase them via PayPal. So that's cool. It's always good to see more e-commerce stuff happening in Concrete 5.
Indeed.
And moving on to the themes, it's kind of cool. We have 5 themes this week. The first one is called Flexcrete Masonry. There's a there's a theme called Flexcrete that's in Concrete 5, and this theme works with the jQuery Masonry plugin to position blocks of content dynamically on the page. So you can add, there's a number of areas within the theme, and you can add content within them like you can to any area. And then as you resize your browser window, those areas sort of move around.
And Masonry's cool.
Yeah, they sort of move around and float and animate based on that.
Is there a demo of that?
Yeah.
Like, you can resize that? Will it work?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, well, we can't because it'd be... Oh!
Yeah, it gets kind of wild.
Wow, that looks pretty funky on the broadcaster. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Go Google Masonry JavaScript.
Yeah, it's cool.
You'll
It's
see
cool
how
that
it works.
The next theme is called Slate. This is just kind of a nice, nice, elegant theme. It does not have a special mobile interface, but the theme collapses down in a nice, pleasing way based on.
I'm gonna say, but it comes with an iPhone.
Yeah, it collapses down based on browser size. So, Matt, if you resize that smaller, you can kind of see how stuff collapses down in a way that looks decent.
Except for Ustream.
Yeah, maybe not so much in our weird
Screwed
fixed
up.
resolution broadcast,
I
but
see. That's weird.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's window-based. Oh well.
Amazing processor power.
Yeah. So that's cool. That's very nice. And it's a nice looking thing. You should check it out. Looks good on mobile devices. Looks good on large monitors.
Reactive.
Yeah, the responsive.
Responsive.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
That's a thing.
Yeah. Silk 2. This replaces a theme called Silk that was in the marketplace. This is by StepHider. I can't remember if this is an e-commerce theme specifically. I know it works with e-commerce. It's a nice theme.
Sure looks like it.
Yeah, yeah. You can. The demo site is a wedding site. It's a lot of nice. Those titles at the top are actually that's text that you can edit using a web font. And I think it might even be an H1 style.
Nice.
I think it comes with some custom templates for gallery blocks and stuff like that. It's really nice. A built-in menu that drops down.
Web font or is it coupon?
It's I don't recall. I think it's a web font. I don't recall doing a lot of setup, and I had the nice fonts.
Nice.
Yeah,
Cool,
so
cool.
that's cool. It's a nice theme. And another theme by StepHider is called At the Cross. This is an e-commerce theme that is kind of like nice blues and grays and pretty subtle. Just to see Matt paging through that interface. We'll go to the demo right now. Kind of see there's some similar treatments to drop-down menus and stuff, but this is these are custom themes for I think either the product block or the product list block,
Nice.
and some nice overlay effects on this stuff.
Fancy.
Yeah, so that's very cool.
Cool.
And always good to see new e-commerce themes and stuff get in there. It's cool. Boy, like that. And finally, this is a theme called Animated, and if you go to the demo, Matt, it'll probably work. It'll probably show some niceness. There's this theme pops open and loads content from pages within little sort of in-page overlay type deals. So if you click on any of those guys, they pop up. That's actually pulling from a page in your Concrete 5 site, much like a theme that we showed off last week.
Yeah.
And it's got the photo in the background. It's got some nice animated effects. I think whatever photo you put on your page there actually swaps out the background of the other page when you click on it, so it's very much this kind of
Nice.
it's a Flash style experience, all in HTML5. So
I like it.
Nice work. We always like those. And that is the PRB this week.
Cool. Thank you. Excellent to see 10 things 1 week. Marketplace growing with nice, healthy stuff that doesn't break one another.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Oakley Dokley, I think we got
Should we take questions now, or should we just
any
take
questions coming up here? Let's see. I've got my own.
them? We might even have questions.
Chapters. Are there any questions just about life, things that we've said so far, stuff we can set you straight on? I don't really see any. Nope. Scroll up this chat window. Oh, wait a minute. I see why you don't like this chat so much.
It didn't populate at the top.
It doesn't auto scroll down. Andrew!
Yes.
What is the plan for going through pull requests before 5.5 release?
We will be going through them once we merge this private branch that we've been working on back into, at some point, not today. We're going to be granting, okay, I'll give the plan.
Yes.
The plan, as it currently stands, is today we're going to be giving out access to the alpha, which is, and this is a private branch in GitHub.
Yes.
And we will be giving that out. And when we hit beta, at that point, we will merge that private branch into the master branch of our GitHub repository. And at that point, it'll be public. People can download it and play with it.
So let me explain the difference. Alpha, to me, and to, I believe, most other people in software, means this mostly works, we believe, in these areas, and we know there's still stuff to do over here.
Yeah. There are things that just don't work.
There are things that we
Lots of
know
things,
we
'cause
haven't
need your
finished.
help on.
There's nothing in there that is, I guess we'll figure that out when we get to it. It's plan's clear.
Yep.
The broad strokes are done, but we're definitely at a phase, and I believe we would appropriately call it alpha, of needs a lot of tightening up in corners. So we're actually making a detailed list using the issues?
I haven't done it yet, but we'll use GitHub issues.
Okay, we're going to use
in this
GitHub issues
private
for
repository.
these are things that we know we need help doing. And they're not going to be like, rocket science stuff. It's help us remake all the forms on the settings pages in the dashboard, clean up formatting on the built-in blocks, brute force, very important, but...
yeah, right now we have our settings section in the dashboard is probably about 10% functional, so we just need to port all that stuff into our new...
Yeah, we've got like 3 of 30 that work, so you can sense what they're supposed to look like, follow these guidelines, make these work. Very granular tasks that we could easily assign to anyone who knows what they're doing. That's a great opportunity for open source to do what open source, one of the many things that open source can do. So if you have some real time, like, 8 hours, that kind of thing, or more, it probably would be awesome to have you help with alpha. Difference in my mind between alpha and beta is when someone releases something beta, you're saying, yeah, we believe this is pretty much there. Like, we might have a few things that we know about, but by all means, beat it up. Prove to us that there is a bug. That is not what we're doing.
Yeah, this won't upgrade an existing site. This won't. This is not
The long
production worthy. It doesn't.
Before it's beta ready.
It is
So
not.
beta we have always made pretty publicly available.
Yep.
We'll continue to make publicly available. It does definitely kind of shift where Andy's time goes when we have dozens or 100 or more people kind of submitting small bug requests and whatnot when we get into beta. So that's why we're keeping alpha still a private branch in Git, and why we're going to ask people to fill out a form and actually commit some level of energy to helping, because the more people, the famous old IBM book, the more developers you have working on something, the longer everything takes. So we've already had some people step up. I just got an email this morning from Christian B saying that his boss had approved him to work 25 hours on this in the next 2 weeks. That is super sweet. Thank you. You're going to get some stuff in the mail. Chances are you can probably get some free licenses out of me if you're trying to convince your boss to open up some time. Just let me know what I can do to make that happen. But we're really looking for some actual real commitment out of people next week to make things happen. It's not just going to be, we stuck a list up, and if you want to, maybe it'd be awesome if you could. If it's that, there's no reason to bother. I'll just crap your whip and make you stay late, and you just do it all yourself. So that's the plan.
Yeah.
At the end of alpha, then yeah, we'll
Yeah.
certainly look at what's been
Yeah.
going on in the public for 5.4
and
beta.
we'll merge
fold that all
those
back
pull
in,
requests back
figure
into
out
the
how
master.
everything's going to work.
Yep, that is the plan. So those are kind of on hold until we can merge what we've been working on back into the master branch. At which point, they probably won't apply cleanly, but a lot of those look pretty granular, and we'll apply them. We'll figure out how to get the good ones in there. Definitely.
Okay. Yes. Any other questions that make sense? Yeah? Is that good? Okie dokie. How do you plan? Glad you're having people up. Look forward to it. How do you plan to manage consistency between the various people in the code and the UI? Oh, it doesn't matter. As long as it works, whatever.
Well, thankfully, we're not asking for a lot of reinventing the wheel in terms of code at this point. For those who, we explained this a little bit, but basically, in the past, we've had settings pages. We've probably had about 6 settings pages in the dashboard strewn throughout different spots.
You know what?
of the
We could
dashboard.
show this.
Yeah.
This would be easier since we are, as you can tell, everything's different. We're on the other side of the complex.
It's a whole different world.
We did that
The water
because
drains
all
the
this
other
is
direction.
working on all this is working on Andy's notebook, and so now we are broadcasting
Nowhere
from
else.
Andy's notebook. Yeah, we don't have a copy of it anywhere else.
Just been digging around.
So now it's time for us to get up and proceed that way.
There will probably be more questions. as
There'll
we
be more
do this.
questions. I'll take my chit chat. And we will go further away from the beer. You're all right. There's a kegerator. There's actually 3 beers on tap at the moment.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
what are we drinking right now?
Hub Lager.
Pub Lager. We've got the Burnside
ESB.
ESB, which is delicious.
Oh, yeah.
And then Hub DOA.
Oh, yeah.
Strong and wonderful.
Fine beers.
Yes. All right, let's do it.
Let's switch over to that.
Yeah, I'm going to switch over to our screenshot for a minute here for a screencast.
Perfect.
Take a share with you.
There's probably going to be some noise while I adjust the camera.
There's probably going to be some noise while I start clicking the keys. I have to resist the temptation not to click on this and stare into it. Alrighty. We good to go?
I think so.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna start it up and
Start her
take
up.
it through the installation process. And, let you narrate.
I'll narrate while you drive. So we've talked about this a little bit in the past. We've changed the installation process around to look even prettier than it did before.
Yep. To go back actually. Now, if you have multiple copies, multiple languages in your built-in folder, you can actually change them here. And
Right. So it could
select
come
them.
with different languages if
Yep.
we wanted to, which is something someone told us we need to do like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And in fact, just as an aside, there's more and more thinking around the office here about international support and how we're going to deal with that. So I would not be shocked to see us do something more meaningful there in the big picture. So the installation now. Are you mouseless or are you good? I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
You can do Got it. things. I got a mouse.
Mm-hmm.
Be productive. So yeah, we're looking at this kind of continued installation guy, and this actually will look in a specific directory in your install path and see if there's a starting point package available, which is what Andy's rolling over right there, the
Yep.
empty site, which is what you'll start with, but we might have a few in there. Plain yogurt might become kind of a, sample site might become a separate starting point. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that there could be kind of like vertical specific starting points. Like,
Yeah, these are completely modular now, as opposed to being this kind of weird, like kind of one-off thing that we had before. They are very much. They will be easy for technical people to create
yep.
and bundle up add-ons, bundle up different blocks, all kinds of different stuff.
So you can enter a bunch of info, which Andy is doing now. As some of these fields are pretty familiar. But of course, all this stuff could also just be stuck into a text file by some Perl script somewhere, and you could really have one-click. You can keep trucking, dude.
Yeah.
One-click install out of the gate, much easier to deal with that kind of stuff. So we're hoping that'll make it even more appealing for various web hosts that are kind of already doing that to different degrees.
Yeah, you can specify your admin password now, which is nice. I don't know why we decided to make it random at the beginning, because that's the first thing everyone always changes. So so now you can do that, and like Franz said, you can write all of these variables to PHP files that you can optionally include in a directory, which will auto-install then when you visit the site for the first time.
Very cool. It will also, so now to set things up, it's going to go set up tables and whatnot. Then it is going to go look in that starting points directory and apply whatever package it is you want it to apply.
Yep. So the blank site one is really very basic. It just includes all the sort of required stuff and sets up a home page that's empty and a page type that's called page, because there's not much to it.
So this is built in such a way that it won't die if you have decided to install e-commerce. Speaking of die, if you install e-commerce and like have those other beefy things that take forever, you're not gonna have a timeout issue on that.
Yeah.
Right. Congratulations!
Hooray!
Continue. So we've talked about this a little bit already. That on your first install, you get this welcome guy, which we're still kind of tweaking a little bit. I don't think we have any of the wizard.
No, they work, but they don't look like
content
anything
in there yet. So I think we showed some screenshots last week what the wizards will look like. So we're not going to bother with that today. But they are very kind of iPad-ish, strongly styled, lots of illustration on one side and a paragraph or two about a concept on the left. Should make that your initial experience with Concrete 5 much more kind of consumer friendly if you haven't been to concrete5.org first. So that's exciting. What's closer?
My blank site.
Your blank site is blank. So let's put her in edit mode and start adding some content. So you can see the whole editing toolbar has changed a lot. You don't end up with a whole bunch of little, you just keep trucking and I'll talk over you. You don't end up with a bunch of little buttons up top. This looks familiar. You got that ad block interface. What happens if you try to resend that?
Oh.
Are you SOL?
Ooh.
Whoa! Resizable windows.
So that's cool. The
That's
buttons
cool.
stay married to the bottom. This is one of the things we get out of using the jQuery UI dialog library is a button pane in our dialog windows, and these buttons are styled with the Twitter Bootstrap library. And yes, and resizable windows is another thing that we get out of it. So that's pretty nice. Oops.
We also are only sizing those windows to be as large as the content space.
Correct.
Or as your browser size,
So
right?
if you have a browser that is small, and I'm probably screwing up Ustream,
It's pretty fun to
royally,
watch, but you get the idea.
you notice that this is small now, and it is at the very bottom of the list. And so content is short and it has not moved the header off the side as it used to. So
Right.
much nicer.
So if anyone
display.
has been following the thread about netbooks where I was chastised for not building Concrete 5 for the blind, this will at least work on netbooks now.
Yep.
And actually also works on an iPad.
It does.
We want to try to show
Sure.
that off. Can
Sure.
you get at it from
I
here?
can.
I'll do a little
Do a little
deal
switcheroo.
here.
iPad. I will click the edit button, and I will go in to edit this page. I will click this content.
Absolutely the best way to demo things on an iPad. We would have done the in-screen thing, but there's no iPad.
There's no iOS 5
on it. And this only works with iOS 5.
But you can see maybe
Tiny MCE on an iPad.
and an iPad
Zoom.
functioning,
Pretty cool.
working well.
Strong bad.
Strong bad.
Cool. So that's nice.
That is nice.
And I think we're still talking about doing a couple of more iPad-y specific switch statements in there, little ifs on double clicks and stuff. That's such a bad idea. Just reeks of Zoff. So yeah, I mean, like it works on an iPad now. The experience is a little funky, like because of the whole no hover state.
Yeah,
on
they
iPad.
can. You have to do a lot of sort of double tapping at different points that we'd probably like to trap and make work a little more gracefully. But as you can see, the overlays function nice on more constrained screen sizes, and Tiny MCE works, and it's not a tiny text box. And yeah, the experience is just on the whole. We've actually thought about the iPad a bit this time around. So.
Oh, here's a question. Please ask questions as we go. Will the content block be able to resize the WYSIWYG editor window into the areas placed into? No. You can resize the content block itself, but you cannot pass the column width
sidebar
on
size.
the page to the.
We actually, an early version of Concrete did that.
Yeah, I remember doing
but
that.
But we, so it's not impossible, but we thought that it was actually kind of annoying.
It was annoying. Why was it? It messed with the toolbars.
Yeah.
Or it was like it wasn't 100% accurate. There'd be a slight offness to it, and that was annoying. So
yeah, I suppose if you were doing some kind of special in-page editor with a toolbar that floated above things like the Lertico content block,
right,
you could do something like that. But currently, no.
Not today.
No.
So there you go. I added content. That was cool. Do we want to do file manager stuff from the content block or whatnot?
Sure.
Place an image or something like that?
Sure. See if some of this stuff still works. If I add an image, you can see that the file manager looks a bit different now. And some of this stuff is subject to change. All of it's subject to change. But as you can see, the file manager looks a bit different. It's much friendlier for the widescreen view, which is kind of what more people are coming to. And if I look for some stuff, tropical beach wallpaper, that sounds nice.
Ooh, let's do that.
And you get a nice little experience there. Just reloads. We've got some nice styles we've taken from the Twitter Bootstrap library for thumbnails. Stuff just looks so much better.
Pretty.
I choose it, it goes in there.
Cool. Big image.
Yeah, I'm going that out.
That's pretty cool.
And now you can actually see how the with our version comments, they all come right within the within this nice little sort of exit and enter edit mode menu. There's no more toolbar stuff across the top.
Right.
It all
We
just
went
kinda
from
happens.
exit edit mode to simply going from edit to editing because that actually makes a fair amount of sense. Can we show off properties or any of those other windows?
Sure.
You don't even need to go into edit mode to do it anymore. I'm going to change the page name, just do it. Shabow now. Add a custom attribute. Showed some of that stuff off before, but here it is actually moving around beneath our cursors.
All that stuff just works. Autocomplete and all that stuff. And yeah.
Nice. Jordan says, why no choose button on the dialog that comes up immediately after you finished an upload?
Oh, that is annoying. I actually do want that.
Yeah.
That's been an oversight.
It's an oversight.
We wanted
At
that.
one point, someone wanted us to make sure that that window came up. So
Yeah,
people
that
would
was
enter metadata.
That was the other reason why we actually changed some of this stuff
So it used to
around.
just dump you back to the file manager.
Yeah.
And then no one would actually enter any metadata.
Yeah, ever.
So having that window is nice, but I agree. There should be like a save or save and choose.
Yeah.
Set, something like that. That's a good question. And that whole advanced searching, we're going to look at that and see if we can make that the default gray box up there.
Oh, yeah.
It is kind of big.
Yeah.
We need to have add files, but that's more than I'd hoped on the collapsed search version. But
Yeah, I know. This guy used to be a lot smaller, and then I was like, where the hell am I going to put add files? Because, I mean, you could definitely put a button in there that's like add files, but there's something nice about being able to switch to the upload, upload a single image or something without having to jump through a bunch of hoops.
Yes, for sure.
But maybe it's not the end of the world to have.
We'll see.
Because if you click upload multiple, you see this. Maybe we could just have upload single right there. It's really not that big.
Yeah, I mean, we can't hide it. People are never going to find it, so we'll figure it out.
Yep.
Let's look at...
Could do stacks and scrapbooks and stuff.
Yeah, I think we'll get into that. I'm just wondering if there's anything else we should look at first. Design? Has that changed at all? Is that
Not
style?
really.
No, okay.
It's
No, that's pretty much the same.
pretty much the same.
We got a little bit more work to do in there.
Yeah.
We could quickly look at the more blocks interface or anything.
Yeah, I do have to
Paint.
connect. That won't be that hard though.
All right, we'll do it.
All right.
So yeah, the
Sure.
connecting, you just truck ahead and I'll talk over you. We're going to try to force connecting to the community a little bit earlier in the game. So some of the features that you've seen with like intelligent search, hitting our site to find how-tos and add-ons and stuff, that's going to work once you have connected to the community, and we're just going to nag you to do so. Also, the flow you just watched is not at all what connecting to the community will look like in the future. This is one of those, hey, this is alpha, please don't bother me about it kind of moments. So now that we're connected to the community, if you go to an ad block type thing, much like your iPhone, you'll see, hey, there's more stuff down here at the bottom. And you get a cool little browser. So, I guess you can. So we'll just kind of do what it does, huh? Yeah. Cool. So yeah, you can search add-ons down below, and it'll pull back just a shorter list. You got some pretty common, the same types of things that you've got on our site for filter buys and categories. So what you're looking at the bottom is just 3 of the results. What you're looking at the top is the detail. We've kind of tried to collapse the traditional summary detail view into one experience, so there's less clicking up and down. That's funny. Yeah. On some of the, we might choose to show a shorter description and use that slidey more thing a little bit more than we are. Yeah. You can page back and forth because like our hot area needs a little adjustment. That one looks good. So these will actually take you through, you just keep clicking, take you through the result set that you're looking at down below. That's interesting. If there are screenshots, why there wouldn't be screenshots, it'll just cycle through them on its own. There you go. So, oh wait, very nice to just kind of sit there and think about whether you want to buy the I Belong paid membership add-on or not. There you go. There's the more detail. View in Marketplace is going to launch it to, that's interesting, going to launch it to a new window. Purchase is going to actually, what state is that in right now?
It's totally, it needs at a stage, so it doesn't.
Purchase is a button you shall never press. Yeah. No, purchase will work. We had that working on a local stage where you could actually go through the checkout flow right here. Yep. Yeah, why don't you show Steph some of her themes? She's, I think, getting a little excited. You're in add-ons. I do, yeah. So, from the intelligent search, you can get to this stuff as well. There you go. Same basic vibe. There's Silk 2. Slowly loading. There you go. So, probably going to be really important to make sure that screenshots are up to date and whatnot.
Yeah, make sure that you have a. Let's just slow load. Make sure that you have a. Make sure that you have a demo site.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's
brings it
going
right
to
up.
be preview. It's going to be in this window, and then you can view in Marketplace. We'll open a new tab. And purchase will buy it through your site.
Right.
Take
so,
you to add functionality.
And we've struggled with this for years. How much of the experience do we want to have inside of the CMS versus going to the community site? We just came to on this kind of attack. We just came to like, look, people should really be able to buy something from their own site. You can buy something from your iPhone. It's just so much easier. If we're going to put some work into making it so people can find stuff, why wouldn't you let them just buy it? It just felt so weird that you can install free things with one click, but buying it was like, now go to a completely different building that you've never seen before.
20 times harder to give money and get the thing.
Yeah, which is just silly. Yeah. So we fixed that, but we did kind of back up off of like recreating everything inside. Yeah. So you cannot make a support request from here. You can't ask a question or
write a review. Yeah.
Write a
Although
review.
We might
they'll probably bring the reviews in. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I could actually see making that a nag. But I think we're going to still say, look, if you have engaged and you want a little more, well, then you need to go to the marketplace. So we're still introducing the marketplace. You already had to connect to community. We're just trying to take some of the pain out of it for you as a consumer, but we're also trying to not create tremendous amounts of pain for developers. I know we get a lot of support requests that really could have been answered if people just did a little bit of digging through the docs that we did bother to write. So Sure helps people do that. Helps us all want to write more docs. So,
Yep.
That will probably continually adjust, but perhaps this is a better balance. Rightio, so that's themes. Pretty cool. Extending your site in a meaningful way, quickly and easily. We like that. What does the star button at the top right do? Yeah, well, this would be a weird thing to add to it, but why not? It puts it in your quick nav bar. So that quick nav bar probably demos a lot better now that we're actually using the real thing. So if you go up to the editing bar, you'll see it just kind of slides down anytime you get close. It shows a breadcrumb of where you've been recently on the right, and it shows your favorites on the left. So if you ever use the file manager sitemap guys that used to throw the buttons up in the toolbar, this will actually do that. And in fact, it's clever enough that if, as an add-on developer, you're building stuff that shows up in the dashboard, like right now, this is a dashboard page, you can tell because there's a big photo in the background, not a website in the background, and ooh, spooky photo. But if you use the star from the sitemap page in the dashboard, it'll add sitemap up there. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're in the dashboard, it'll take you to the sitemap page, but if you're on the page in the site, it'll be smart enough to just launch there you go, launches it in an overlay, same way that button used to. And now you can actually do that as a developer. So I'm sure Chad Strat will be all over adding a review blog posts UI to one of the blogging add-ons, and then that could be in your quick nav. You click it, and you could approve a blog post right from on top of the page, or go to it if you're in the dashboard. So
by default, it takes you in there, but you can make it run whatever you'd like.
Will there be Siri integration so I can ask my CMS verbal questions?
Download a new e-commerce theme and apply it to my site.
I'm going to call you e-commerce. Yeah. So that's all pretty cool. One thing that we're kind of excited about that we don't really talk much about is stacks. There's not really a whole, we were just talking about this at lunch yesterday, there's really not all that much dramatically different in 5.5.
Yeah.
Beyond the entire look and feel.
Yeah.
But in terms of like sweet new functionality.
Yeah, we're working under the hood to make it faster. We're incorporating a fair number of things from the Concrete on Steroids, not the specific approaches, but just some of those, moving JavaScripts to the footer and minifying them and optimization.
The whole day is dedicated to just finding ways to speed things up.
But in terms of, crazy new features,
right, there's no new layouts. The one new thing that is crazy new and awesome is stacks. And the best way... Well, since we have no sample content, this is going to fall flat. I was going to do the site name change, but...
I can make some pages. I wanted to show off the nav portion of it anyway.
Okay,
so
do what you're going to do.
All right.
I'll talk about what you're doing when you do it.
First off, basically what we've decided to do is split the concept of the scrapbook into two separate things. So there is a clipboard, which is the whole... I'm copying something over and over, and I'd like to cut and paste.
Yeah.
And then the sort of centralized content repository portion of the scrapbook is now called stacks.
Stacks.
And they are better in every way.
Yes, and scrapbooks are going away.
Yes.
They will continue to function. If you've got stuff in there, they will still do what they did. But as we forge into the bold new future, we'll be trying to use them less and less.
Yes. So, and that making that change allows us to do so much. Allows us to streamline things so much. So, for example, if I go to copy to the clipboard, it immediately adds to the clipboard. There's just one personal clipboard for each person, and you can just paste. And you can paste into the same area as many friggin' times as you want. And you can paste.
When you save the page, all those blocks will actually show up.
Yes.
If you have used the personal scrapbook in the past to try to do things like Andy's doing, like, I just want to copy this highly styled horizontal rule around.
Yep.
You know this doesn't work today. It's extraordinarily annoying because you're just aliasing a block ID, so it only works once.
And if you edit something, bugs. This block was copied from another location, and editing it will create a new instance of it. That's funny. I gotta fix that.
Twice as many ways to update.
Yeah, exactly. So that's nice, and that's the clipboard, and we kept that because it's a nice editing tool to have, but we split it out so that you didn't have to choose personal scrapbook versus global scrapbook. It's just a kind of a confusing thing.
Well, and that's just one of many things that evolved over time. It was never designed like, let's have two different things called the same stuff that only kind of work. It's not what was on the whiteboard.
And so I will go in and actually make a stack and show off stacks as it is for a replacement for the global
So one of the other complaints that we had kind of wrestled with the whole scrapbooks model was use scrapbooks with page defaults a lot. That's great. It's very easy to see how we would use that to manage a sidebar across the whole site. But it's hard to manage sort order from page defaults, and people kind of like wanted to solve that problem, but as soon as you start to think about it, you realize, oh god, I don't really know what's going on these detail pages, so what does the sort order even mean? The idea of being able to treat a whole collection of blocks as one thing is really compelling. People started to kind of do that just by saying, make a whole new scrapbook for sidebar, and whatever's in that entire scrapbook, I'll just go programmatically grab. We had certainly done things that way. Like we built mega menus that way. Like here's a mega menu and everything. Don't mess up the order in there. But stacks let you do that kind of from the bottom up.
Yeah, and since stacks are based on pages versus areas on a single page, they can get they can more easily have permissions applied to them at the entire stack level, and they can have version control. Versioning. So that's nice. So if I head into stacks, and you'll see global areas listed up here. I'll get to those in a second. If I create something called sidebar, which you can see I have done it before, here is a stack that I have now, and if I go into sidebar, I can add blocks to it. And so if I say, this is my sidebar content, and I can, you notice I can edit stuff right from within the page, even though this is a dashboard page. If I go in and add a survey, yes, that's my only option.
I like that.
And then if I add a block that's like, if I add an image block, for example, I'll choose this guy and make him 160 by 80. And then I can approve changes. You'll be able to move stuff around. That actually is broken right now, so that's on a list of known knowns. But that will eventually affect global sort order wherever you reference this stack. And the way to reference a stack, stacks are a little buggy actually. If you go to a particular sidebar, you'll see add block and add stack. And stacks have little autocomplete things there too. And if you choose sidebar, that stuff will be right there. And when you click on this, you can't edit it, but you can manage stack contents, and that will take you into the stacks page if you have the ability to mess with it. And you can add stacks. You can add multiple. You can add the same stack multiple times to different parts of the page. Some blocks may like that. Some blocks may have problems with that.
Yeah.
But that is the goal behind stacks.
The idea of stacks.
And so, and you can add this, and whenever you make a change to it in the stack interface, it will copy out, or it will. This block is referencing that stack directly, and it will grab those changes immediately. So, for page defaults that you want to actually keep consistent order-wise, you just add a stack to that page, and then you can manage the order within that stack like crazy. And
do stacks have design as an option?
I believe that they do.
On blocks within there?
Within blocks, yes.
Yes.
You can.
Whatever you want with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to do, I don't know what would be outer layer to do that, and you do that in the block area.
And stacks have version control and stuff like
that.
And then I seem to recall stacks actually do have design at the page level, so you can put something around that stack if you wanted.
Will they work with layouts?
Yeah, you can put them in there. You can't split a stack with a layout, though. You can put a stack inside a layout cell.
Right. You can put a stack in a layout, but layouts exist at the page level, not the stack level.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah.
Layouts should not be overused.
One could, I could see how you could make a layout in the stack itself, but actually making this block smart enough to pull in the layout in its block container would be kind of nice.
One day we're going to throw some energy at layouts.
Doing for layouts what we've done with
maybe that day, but I don't know. You get into a slippery slope of hierarchies with that.
Yeah.
A couple other questions came up. Just jumping way back to the not scrapbook, but the clipboard. Is there a way to paste as a copy without it being tied to the original?
No.
No. But you can go in there and fork it, right? Or
Yeah.
no?
Yes.
Once they're all...
Yeah. Once you paste it, if you wanted to fork it, you could click edit, and it says this block was copied from another location. Editing it will create a new instance of it.
Okay.
And so that will fork it.
And if I wanted to change them all, can I do that?
Yeah, if you edit the first one.
So okay, so if you edit your original, you're editing everybody. If
Yeah.
you edit one of the pasted ones,
Yeah.
you're forking it.
Yep.
And no, there's no way as you paste it to choose how you want to paste it.
Correct.
Yeah, cool.
And I will show off the last little bit of stacks, and to do that effectively, I will go into the sitemap and add a couple pages. So you can see the sitemap is mostly the same. Some of these interfaces we need to throw love at, and that's where you guys come in. So now I've added some pages. There's no defaults or anything set up in my sample content site. It's very, very empty here. And I'm on test page 3, and you'll notice that if I edit the page, you see I have 2 areas up here. This is an area. This is no longer referencing some scrapbook that you have to know how to change in my site name or any of that jazz. Instead, these are referenced using a function called global area from within the theme. And if you do that and you come to this on any page in your site and you click add, and again, this is totally optional, all area stuff still continues to work and you don't have to use this at all. You'll see this is a global area. Content added here will be visible on every page that contains this area. And so if I add my site name and I give it heading 1, and then I go to my header nav, I add an auto nav there, and I change its custom template to look like header menu. If I then exit edit mode, you'll see that now I go, and these are on every page of my site. And if I added e-commerce, all the checkout pages would have this on them, even though they're single pages. You don't have to, if you add a new page type and you add those pages to your site, they are all referenced everywhere. And that works by using stacks. So if you reference global area in your code, and a special type of stack gets made in the stacks section, and the blocks get set there. So you can change them here, you can delete them, although that would be kind of weird. You can add stuff to them and they will show up everywhere. It's basically just it's a special type of stack that is hard-coded into the page at the area level. So if you go in and add more blocks to it, you're free to do that. So that's what that's all about.
Cool. So now when people bust out their Concrete 5 site for the first time, they go to click on my site name. They will not have 2 hours of frustration as they find it to be unclickable, only to be told in our forums they need to go into something they've never seen before.
Yeah.
Global scrapbook.
Yeah, like how do I change this into my logo is like a perfectly reasonable request, and this should they will not have to learn a completely archaic and weird way to
make life a lot more intuitive for people.
Yes, very happy about that.
More questions have emerged. Will the global area? Oh, this chat sucks. Could someone please tell Ustream? Will the global areas add header items if JS is required by blocks?
They will.
They will. Will stacks go inside of other stacks?
No.
Good lord. Stacks.
You like stacks so much we put some stacks in your stacks.
Stacks on that? Give you more stacks. Yeah, I can see why.
Yo, dog.
Go. Yo, dog. Oh, no. Yeah, I can see that, but
yeah, architecturally, I don't think there's actually anything holding that particularly. Actually, yes, there are. I think you could potentially copy a stack and paste it inside of a stack. I don't think at that point that second stack would show the contents of the first one, although I would be happy to see some people push the limits in the interest of science.
Wait, we're getting a different flavor of the same question. Try again. Will I be able to insert a new block above an existing block rather than at the end and drag?
No.
No. You will be able to insert a new block into a stack,
And drag.
change the sort order, and it will be reflected everywhere
Yes.
with the drag.
We
but
did
you
not.
can't add it wherever you want. And the reason why you're not going to be able to do that is much the same reason that we're not going to add a paste from clipboard as alias or paste from clipboard as original. Of if you give just too much, it's too overwhelming. Rather give, if you can get it done without that many more clicks, come on. But yes, what you cannot do today of I have used this page defaults and global scrapbooks to manage my sidebar, and now I just want to insert something in the middle. You're SOL today.
Yeah,
There's
today
really
you
no
are.
way to do that.
Page defaults do not work with sort order.
Yeah, and there's no way. I mean, we couldn't really figure out a way to make that work in a predictable way that wouldn't just create endless bugs for
Yeah,
us.
but
So
this is totally predictable.
this will solve that.
Yeah.
So yay!
We're very excited.
Very
This
excited
will
about
reduce
that.
headaches.
Oh, this chat sucks, dude. Every time someone writes it, it like scrolls back up to the last thing. This chat is horrible. You would think that, it's not like I'm asking someone to invent the brand new. It's not Google Wave.
This has been around for 20 years.
40 years, dude. All right. How about, did you get the move working the way we were talking about?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so we were wrestling with, we got rid of all that junk in the editing bar, and it was awesome. And then just struck us like, oh God, how do you move things? There was like the move mode, save positioning, and all that. I was like, I don't want to add that. So now, kind of in that spirit of just making simple, you click move on something, put it where you want it, you're done. You want to move something else, you click move on it, you put it where you want it, you're done. Anytime you move it, it's just saving it.
Yep.
So I
You're
guess
already done.
awesome example of I know we could do it the hard way. In fact, this is simpler than what we had before. Before we had it, you put it into move mode, you can move everything around, then you're going to save it all.
Then you have to save again,
edit mode
basically.
again. Very kind of programmatic way of thinking about things.
It was very programmatic.
All this does is say, look, when you drop something in move, just save and exit move mode.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I think the general experience should be a lot more intuitive for people, and it also kept us from having to add a bunch of junk to the very pretty toolbar.
Yep.
Let's show off the... Okay, let's see if any of our questions as we go here. People seem to like stacks. People seem to like global scrapbooks. Steph is planning a vacation now because she doesn't have to answer how do I change my site name. And somehow I just made the whole chat window go blank.
Oh.
What the hell? Have you done this before?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. You're awesome. Not yet. What happened to the chat? I just clicked it and it went blank.
That's really
I'm outraged.
outraged.
All right, hold on a moment.
Did you lose internet or something?
I don't think so.
No.
Look like
Come on. Let me launch the social stream again.
I'll give you a stream.
I'd accept just a trickle. Come on, this sucks so bad. Ustream. Ustream. iStream. Y'all stream. iStream. Pop out. Okay.
And you lost it all.
Back.
This is riveting screencasting.
If there was a better service out there, we would absolutely use it.
I should switch to the camera as we.
Okay, hello? Alright, so if you had said something, I don't have it anymore. So if you got a new question, here we go. Prediction, Concrete 5.6 will include live streaming functionality. Also chat window. That is probably accurate.
We're switching focus.
Okay,
Oh, man.
here we have the dashboard drop-down guy, and some interesting things happening here. You can see that we have kind of strongly designed what comes where in the top half of the dashboard drop-down. So the 4 things that we think people are going to need to use most often, especially if they're new: composer, sitemap, files, and members. Trying to call people members and people as opposed to users. slowly. So those things are basically hard-coded up there. The subpages will take you directly to one. So if you want to, like, I don't know, search for users or something.
Yeah, they respect the sitemap, but so you can still reorder this stuff, but you know they come this way by default.
So that's pretty cool. If we go back up to that dashboard drop down. Want to do the new stuff?
Sure. Yeah.
Or we'll come back to that in a second. This whole conversation started with Jordan asking how would he know what to do in such a way that we would accept it from a style perspective. So one of the big challenges that we have in front of us for alpha that we're really hoping people can help with is all of the system pages. So, with Concrete 5 today, there are two areas in the dashboard that have just been kind of like, we put stuff in there. There's site-wide settings and system and maintenance.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I always get the labels mixed up. I'm always like,
No, that's
settings,
right, but they're going
maintenance.
away.
I never understood the difference between them. And then if you get into site-wide settings, it's just like
Anything in there.
yeah, diarrhea of dialogues. They're just, like 4 pages of dialogue boxes everywhere. So what we're doing now is each one of those bad boys is its own page. You don't need to go to them that often. When you do need to go to them, you just need to go to them. So now, go to Systems and Settings, and you're going to get a nice little list of here's everything that you might want to do. I can see us kind of spending some more time on this page and the design around it with the descriptions and that kind of stuff, but something along these lines. And if you we'll go to one that looks good. Site name, Kerduh. Oh, you don't have a question mark in this.
Oh no, I don't. I think I might here.
One of these has somewhere along here.
Oh well, not in this particular guy, but if I go to the file manager.
There we go. So every one of these dialogues eventually will have a little help guide. A little question mark explains what it is you're looking at. And can we put HTML in there? Can we make that link?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're hoping that we would put a little description and then actually link to a documentation page in the editor's guide on concrete5.org if you want to know more information about that. Each one of these little dialogue, each one of these little setting pages should have a description of what it's for, and we're trying to go pretty granular with them. Let's see, I'm getting a question already. Icons for different sections. Well, text requires thought on every read. Icons better. Icons require that you actually understand what they mean. I think this page is going to still get some design love in terms of making it easy to know where to jump. I think that we will probably, given the creative direction of the interface as a whole, try to keep things pretty minimalist.
Breaking these things up into separate pages allows them to be accessible within intelligent search. So if I'm on if I'm on here and I'm like, my site needs a fave icon really badly, I can just type icons, I get system and setting bookmark icons, I hit that, I'm right in there.
Oh, it's awesome. You don't know what a fave icon is, there'd be a little question mark explaining it.
Yep. And since these are all so they're very functionally based around a specific task, it lets us add more stuff to them without worrying about how it's going to overwhelm all the other dialogues on the page. So as part of this, we're going to actually add the ability to try and upload an Apple iPhone icon, home screen icon through this. And for example, in the tracking codes section, there will be a radio button to select whether you want this, whatever you're putting in there, to show up in the header or the footer of the page. Right. So, because people have wanted that for a while.
Icons, my God. Icons make sense if you're going to something more than once, but you have to learn what an icon means. So if you're going to spend a lot of time going to the settings page and you know what you want to jump to, having an icon would make a lot of sense because it would help you quickly recognize, oh yes, that's SEO stuff. I remember that. If you're only ever going to come here once, adding a bunch of stuff to this page is going to make it harder.
Yeah, I could see what, oddly enough, with this particular thing, I kind of took some thoughts from the Windows control panel with the whole set sections and then then specific granular settings beneath them. I could see some of the drabness of the layout being attacked by having an icon for each section. I certainly wouldn't want an icon for each option.
Right. No, I could definitely see. I mean, I don't think in that sense you're not talking about icons. You're talking about illustration. There's a completely different problem. You're saying I want people to read this wall of text.
Yeah,
and it's intimidating. So adding something that is pleasant to look at will
some
make
sort of
someone
pleasant,
scroll and give their mind a break.
Yep.
But having an icon next to each one of these
I think that
is going to look like WHM. And that sucks.
Yeah.
So
section-based, something that's just attractive that makes you not want to.
But I totally do agree that like this is an intimidating page and not the end state.
Yeah.
So let's call it alpha.
Even if we busted it up and had two on a side with an icon next to it.
I think maybe breaking them into a 2-column thing. I don't know. We will chat with the designer about it, and he'll scratch his head, and then it'll look great. But let's show one that's not working.
Any of them.
Oh God!
They're all.
Oh no!
They're all craziness because basically at this point the install routine creates these single pages, but I have not moved over any of the control. The old pages from the existing Concrete 5 are all still in there. All the old in a backup state, and the old controllers are still there in their original location. So basically, none of these things, apart from these two, work at all. And they're old. The controllers are misnamed. The functions are in the wrong spot. But what's great about this is that we already know, we're not trying to add any new functionality to any of this stuff. Or if we are, we'll be dictating exactly how it should work and either doing it ourselves or really specifically tasking people with exactly how we want to do it. We're not going to just say, yo, riff on the IP blacklist section for a while. In most cases, we're just going to be taking the existing form, plopping it into, and making sure that it works, and then trying to apply some of the Twitter bootstrap styles to them so that they look pleasant.
Yeah. So you got Twitter Bootstrap. We'll probably write up a short. This is how we're implementing Bootstrap. Style guide is probably too strong of a word for it, but at least like 2-page document.
Yep.
Use this, use that, don't do this.
Yeah. It's mostly about making sure the right button styles get used, and then the right wrapper divs and list classes go around different form elements.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And just to clarify, this is not the dashboard page we're looking at. This is the systems and settings subpage within the dashboard that generally you would only get to if you went to the dashboard drop-down,
This guy, right?
click that because you wanted to change something deep behind the scenes.
Someone says, change your cache, and you have
I
to
better go to
into,
cache. It's not something I would expect people to use every day. We like icons, and we use them on things that people use every day. If you look at the ad block interface or whatever, there's all sorts of pretty completely redesigned, nice looking icons that are based on, we're using sprites for that, right?
Yep.
So, see? Icons.
There's actually a lot more uniformity to our icons now than there's
they're
probably
all
ever been.
nice and consistent. We don't repeat the same icon for like 10 things like we do. Why don't you bring up the ad block interface or
the site map or something?
No, like you put the page in edit mode and all those these guys. Yeah, so all these icons have been redone. Make sense and look pretty. They're all sprite based, so should be happier for performance.
All these have been.
All those have been redone.
External link is no longer something that's confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's certainly time and place. Anyway, let's show off one more thing, and we'll call it quits. I think for today.
Do you want to do the news page?
Yeah, okay.
We're going to get questions if we don't.
If we don't, it's going to be painful.
Yeah.
Okay. So, will the top edit bar be collapsible? No. The edit bar still uses the exact same real estate that it uses today vertically because most themes are designed to do that. So.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. That quick nav bar is collapsing. Yes. So what you're looking at now is our rethink of what used to be the dashboard home. And I'm guessing there's probably a little bit of confusion going on right now as we were showing that system-wide settings that we got to as if, well, that's the dashboard.
Oh, God.
That's not the dashboard. There is no dashboard per se anymore. There's no dashboard landing that you would go to. There's the intelligent search. There's the dashboard button with the drop down that lets you go to specific pages within it. I mean, if you're thinking literally about what happens if I go to /dashboard, you get this. This is strongly inspired by Flipboard on an iPad, and if you haven't played with it, you really should, because it's amazing. Mostly because they are taking content that already existed. You can stick your Facebook feed into Flipboard, and it's the same stuff that you don't want to read on Facebook, and just by laying it out in different ways and kind of focusing on some of the detailed content and presenting some of it as opposed to all of it, it makes it infinitely more appetizing to scroll through. So the idea with this is we're calling Newsflow 1, and for all of the white labeling partners and people who are so concerned about, I don't know, whatever.
Co-branding or
people who
controlling
are
the experience.
For all the people who are against me, you can change this. Don't worry, I'm not taking over your awesome ideas. You can still do whatever you want to do. This is just my awesome idea. So you're going to see this once a day. First time you log in to edit your site in a day, you'll get this. You can easily.
This will show up as a dialogue over.
This will show up as a dialogue over your site, or it'll show up if you actually come to the dashboard. And the reason that we did that is because as we were talking more about, look, we really want to be able to get news in front of people. We really want to be able to tell the world about Chad Strat's new version of the events thing, but no one goes to our dashboard. I have clients that have never been to the dashboard. You say, oh, there's this tiny news feed in the bottom. We'll make it bigger and feel like Facebook. And that's the way we were thinking through the summer.
God, I'm so glad we didn't.
Yeah, I'm so glad we didn't do that. No one goes there. There's no reason to go there. It's completely out of your way. It's a pain in the butt. But there are a lot of people with just no idea what's going on with Concrete 5. They have no clue that we're doing this video show right now. I know people who did not know, at least they do now, that there's an e-commerce add-on. Oh, I can sell stuff with my Concrete 5 site? Oh, sweet, dude. I wish I had known about that. I just rebuilt everything with Magento. It cost me 40 grand. Oh my God. So not having any opportunity to kind of speak to people is just a mistake, and it puts us in a position where we don't really think of things to say. So this is the news flow, and this page itself is editable from within the dashboard. If you're an admin, you can change what each of these things does. Do we want to show that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's show that.
Right now, you can only get to that if you type customize into here. We'll probably figure out a way to deal with that. But if you come here, you'll see dashboard home, customize. If you come here, you get the same sort of view, but you get a provocative edit page in here. And if you click edit page, you see that these are all actually blocks. So if you've played around, and very few people have, if you've played around with the dashboard in the past on the dashboard home page, I know some stats people have, you know about this weird little thing called a dashboard module. Those are gone. They are completely gone. We have standardized on blocks, and these are special internal blocks, so you can't add them. Some of them you can add. This one, for example, is just the RSS displayer, and it's just displaying something from our own RSS feed. But then some of these don't even have edit states because they are special internal blocks, and they are called dashboard blocks. If I go into the ad here, you can see we've got some special blocks here. Dashboard featured add-on, dashboard featured theme, dashboard news flow latest, etc. And those guys work exactly the same way. They could have edit interface and save settings. They have controllers, they have views. They are exactly like blocks. They just don't show up on the front end of the site. And they are sort of single purpose. And you can install them and specify them in your sample content. You can package them up with your add-ons, and then include stats graphs for stats add-ons,
right.
That types of stuff, all kinds of.
So this landing page can change over time. If you're a white labeling partner, it could look completely different. If you're an add-on developer, you could include stuff that someone could choose to put on here.
Yep.
Now let's get out of here and show the paging stuff.
Okay.
So the idea with this is that this first view would pull interesting things that just happened, but then you could just page through exciting stuff from concrete5.org. Now these layouts are not, done. It's not what the comps look like. But what's going on here is the entire. Yeah, actually, they are looking pretty decent.
Yeah. Not that many of them.
The entire layout for all of these flows is coming from not actually concrete5.org, but a server will maintain. So think of the, all you're looking at, what is it, 6 blocks here, one big wide one. The entire blob of HTML for that is being served from remote. So you've been hearing me talk a lot about, as we head into the future here, our group is going to become more and more of a media company, less and less of just a software shop. This is what I'm talking about. It's going to become part of our job to actually create these editions on, hopefully, eventually a daily basis. We'll probably shoot for weekly or bi-weekly to begin with. But let us show you some how-tos. Let's have a case study of what a big client is doing. Let's put together 5 things that someone might actually want to read and could learn from. And you'll be able to page through these things infinitely. These are basically, we can have as many of these as we want. Each one links to the next one. The layouts can change over time. So if our designer decides he's got a really awesome idea for April Fools or whatever, and we need it to behave some different way, you'd be able to do all that. And that is news flow. So that even as well is something that you could change as a white labeling partner. I don't know, we want to show anything about that? Can we talk about it?
Yeah, we can talk about it. It's a little... I don't remember. No, it's not. It's totally done. I just don't remember all the settings. You have to set them by hand.
So we've tried to incorporate some of the white labeling thoughts that we've had over the last couple of years into this. So especially because we are definitely taking a step towards a more managed experience, and I know there's going to be some pushback on that from different people for different reasons. So all of this, as you can tell, every time we introduce it, is highly configurable. So the welcome page that you got when you first started with the tours, you can change that just as part of like your default package.
Yeah,
this you can change as part of your default package. You can change where news flow is pointing to. So if you want to have your own, it's my CMS for whatever, Acme Inc., and I want my own news experience, you can do all that there. And this is mostly just to find an XML file somewhere. Right, is the way we were talking about it. You'd have some URLs.
Well, they're not XML. It's just PHP.
Some set of parameters.
Yes, they're a set of parameters. They work mostly like just Concrete 5 overrides have always worked. You just define them, and you can point the background image locations to a separate spot or to a static source somewhere.
That's right.
You can point the logo to a static source somewhere.
The logo will swap out, and it'll automatically give a little powered by Concrete 5 under there, which is a nice kind of medium for us. I think it's fair to say this is your clients, your experience, but hey, come on. And that should all work and be awesome.
Yep. That's all configurable also within the... So our installation starting points are just a series of different XML files for installing which block types and even with what content. And the config values for a given starting for a site all that stuff can be defined in that XML as well.
Yeah.
So, if you want to, you can make it easy to have a special white labeling starting point, and that can turn off marketplace integration, that can change news flow, it can change the welcome screen, it can swap out the logo, all that stuff is totally configurable at installation as well. You don't have to, it's not like you have to install it and then say, okay, now I got to copy over a config file.
Right,
like
it can all just come out of the box that way. And to answer a question I'm seeing here in chat, no, you don't have to be anything special, you just have to want to do it. There are no white labeling partners. We are not going to sell that for $99 a month.
It's free.
It is free. It's just part of being awesome. In the big picture, we're still talking about making it so perhaps you could limit the add-ons and themes to a list that you choose for your clients. We're talking about, could I even perhaps upload packages as if I were submitting to the marketplace, but just make it for my clients. So use our marketplace as a delivery mechanism for your own packages. That obviously segues into, well, can I then charge my clients? Could I have, I have a network of church sites, and you connect with to concrete5.org, that's fine, but then you can have church site basic, church site pro elite, and pay me something for each. Maybe, I don't know. That's definitely 5.3, I would say, 0.4.
Yeah,
that's a ways down the road.
We're
thinking about that. Perhaps that's something that we would charge you something to do, since we're building a bunch of infrastructure for it. And honestly, because you would be turning off access to sell stuff in the marketplace, the way we're looking at it right now is, look, hey, if you want to swap out the logo and feel more comfortable about using this, that's fine, because chances are someone will buy something eventually. You're talking about us is good for us, so if we can make that easy for you, that's good for everybody. There's no reason to try to get a buck out of you for it. Some other questions. Will you be able to programmatically add blocks to the dashboard from a package install controller? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, dashboard. I think we're doing news flow.
Yeah, you could, because you can pull this dashboard page is just a page. This welcome page is just a particular page in the dashboard with areas on it. So you could add a block programmatically to it, definitely. Yeah, just the same way you might add a block programmatically to any area on your site. The starting point XML format doesn't really, it's more about wiping out content than it is adding to existing content. You can definitely add pages that way, but you couldn't, for example, reference the dashboard page in this new XML format that we're including in this and add blocks that way. But you could definitely add it programmatically. You could definitely script out. Swapping out a particular block with your stats graph, for example. Although we might have to have some policies on that.
Yeah,
like
everything that you're saying is scaring me. Yeah, but technically, yes, you can.
Yeah.
And I bet there'll be some debate in the PRB about that one.
Well, I mean, we don't even have a stats graph on it right now. I don't even know if we're
I can see not even bothering with that. But no, I mean, I think there's definitely it seems like there are packages where that would make sense.
Yeah, totally.
Right. I just bought the Google Analytics integration package. I set it up. Why is it not on my homepage? Yeah. Definitely trying to do everything that we can to avoid okay, now that you bought this, you need to follow these 20 steps to install it. So in that vein, that's cool. I think we just have to keep our eyes out in terms of policy for
this deletes a page and messes around with a bunch of blocks.
Wipes out news flow.
Yeah,
great, thanks. So
but yes, you can
catch that in our PRB since we've taken the efforts to make that.
Yeah, and you can. Yes, you can do.
So yes, you can. I will give you a yes on that.
And it works much. It's going to be much easier to do that than it is to swap out the dashboard modules today.
Yeah.
I mean, much less hacking involved.
Although the footprint of this page is fixed. Correct?
Yeah, it's built on an internal page type, so one could change it, but it's...
But for an add-on developer's perspective, if you're going to do a starting point, you could change this around and say, well, this is the framework that I'm dealing with, I'm going to completely gut this and have my own version.
Yeah. They could probably figure out how, but we're not going to necessarily say that's a good... Yeah, it's not really a great idea.
Yeah, so pretty cool. I think that's enough.
Yeah.
We're at like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So that's what we're working on. I mean, there's a lot going on. There's so much on the whiteboard, and as you can tell, there's still a fair amount of things that we know, we need to come back at that. But then there's also some things, like all those system pages, that we just need some help getting done. So if you've got some time and you just want to throw us some help, we would love for that. I will set up a page. I'll probably just set up a form on the same page in Join Beta underneath developers to limited edition Join Alpha and get some information out of you guys on that. I'll do that right now. Look at this. I'll switch back over. Cool. So that's it. We're very excited. I hope you guys are too. It looks like you are. You should be. It's going to be sweet. I think that's it.
Let's do it.
We're not going to kiss or anything.
No, we're not going to kiss.
Okay. Do I have to stop recording first?
I believe